Wonderful. Okay, so welcome, welcome, welcome. I think they're fabulous. So, welcome to a section from Why Follow the Herd. I'm Debbie Clement-Large, and I am really excited to be sharing with you stuff around stress. Now, stress is everywhere, isn't it, Leigh? So I'm with the wonderful Leigh Cooper today, who is a new mum, so that is stressful in itself. And she's moving house, which is like doubly stressful. So she's kind of got it all at the moment. Yet she's still smiling. Leigh, you're smiling.
Oh, thank you. Is it a grimace? I am smiling. I think a lot of it has to do with, and I have to remind myself, I kind of feel like with sort of managing stress, it's all about like the way that we sort of work out and work out our muscles. It's something that you kind of keep having to do, keep having to work out, because I don't think anyone ever gets to a stage in life where they're just happy and they stop. Life, is amazing and they're in this bubble and it's always amazing. I think it's like with stress, it's something that you've constantly got to keep working at, so that you, like for me at the moment, especially being a new mum, reminding myself of gratitude. And it was actually funny that I mentioned that, because last night when my little boy was sort of going off to sleep, I spoke to him and said, right, what are we grateful for today? Because I just felt like I hadn't got out the house. The weather was awful. I'd been eating badly, just lots of sugar, and felt bad about myself. And so it was really nice to kind of just sort of remind myself of what am I grateful for today. And it was something simple like having a nice hot shower. I think I treated myself to a decaf from Nero's. And so little things like that. I don't know if you ever use gratitude, Debbie, but I think that kind of I find that brings me back to the present moment and gets me to realize that actually, life isn't all that bad. There are some really good moments. So I'm not sure if that's something that you yourself use or have anything similar.
Yeah, I
But
think gratitude's a really powerful process that it helps us to focus on more of the good stuff and less of what goes wrong. There's a tendency to focus on the lack and the limitation and the scarcity of stuff. You just have to look at the papers for that.
yeah,
I was saw the local paper about a week ago, and it was crisis, and everything's in for a squeeze with money, and so it puts a level of fear in everybody. It increases our
yeah,
stress, which is what we're talking about. Stress, that big stress thing, and how we can find solutions. And I think you're right. Solution is one of the things is gratitude. Is the more you are grateful for things, the more you see things to be grateful for,
yeah,
which
that's true.
changes our focus and which helps us to let go of some of that fear and come back from that sense of separation, which fear is, back into our truth that actually we're love. Life is abundant. Life is there to support you. It's just we lose faith and trust in ourselves and what's going on, and we believe things that aren't true. I can't do this. And then the more we say we can't do something, the more we can't do it,
Yeah,
because that's kind of where our
absolutely.
beliefs are. So, yeah. So, women, stress, and solutions. So, that's kind of the workshop we're doing together, Leigh, isn't it? When we've got Rebecca and Cathy as well doing it with us.
Really looking forward to it. And I think we've got, as we said before, four different approaches. One's with regards to sort of food, another one from someone that's in the kind of medical profession, but more of a holistic approach. Yourself, I mean, whenever I speak to you, you're still ongoing training and things that you're learning and constantly adding to your skill set. And then the thing that I'm passionate about is kind of, yeah, I always say this phrase of from sort of surviving to thriving, because I think, especially in these times, and I know I mentioned to you watching the news and energy bills going up, new strain of COVID, housing crisis, all of these things, we kind of feel like we're just getting by. And
Mm.
I think I'm a great believer that life wasn't meant to be about just surviving and getting to the end of it and thinking, oh, thank God, life is meant to be so that we look back and think, wow, what a life I've led. I mean, it's never going to be without its trials and tribulations, but I think it is those trials and tribulations, those challenges that actually make us who we are and make us perhaps do things that we otherwise wouldn't have done before. So if I think it's very much changing perspective, which isn't always easy when you're in that dark place and nothing seems to be going right.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I like that, moving from striving to thriving. We all want to thrive, really, don't we? We all want to. Striving just feels like effort. It feels, just getting through the day, that just making enough money to pay the bills, just doing. And where's the fun in that? Where's the enjoyment in that? And I think, we're born to
Yes,
thrive, to share our gift, to shine our light, to live a life to our fullest potential.
I
So
totally
actually,
agree.
what you're going to be teaching them about letting go of some of the stress is really important.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is, it is mindset. And I kind of, I love and I hate that word because growing up, my mum was very much about sort of, changing your mindset on things. And I used to really push against that. But some of the people that I follow and really put on a pedestal, I really, really do, hand on my heart, believe now and know that what we choose to focus our attention on, what we choose to consume, the thoughts that we have affect how we feel, and then how we feel then affects the actions that we take, the words that we use, the connections that we make. And so if we're constantly thinking, we're watching the news, we're reading the newspapers, we're talking to our friends, and we're always focused on the scarcity, the lack, the deprivation, then we're feeling like that. Our vibration is lowered, our light is dimmed, whatever you want to call it, and then we're attracting more like that. So I've another thing that's I'm fascinated with is quantum physics and how we, like magnets, we then attract more, like attracts like. So we then draw more of this, and it becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy that life is tough, life is hard, and if you can break that link. And yeah, I could go back to the gym analogy and working out your muscle. It's not easy. It's something that I struggle to focus on positive thoughts and to speak positively. It's something that I have to do, like a muscle that I'm training. And you sometimes, like when you're training, you feel like you're weak and you really don't want to do it. But even just going through the motions cumulatively over time, I think it makes such a difference. So I don't know if that
Yeah,
again resonates with you, Debbie. If you can relate to any of that.
absolutely. Well, I'm all about the mindset. I have been for a long time. Quantum physics, you talked about that. Actually, I study quantum physics
Wow, that's amazing.
because my approach is I'm a licensed spiritual psychologist. Do quantum physics, so a lot of my training is around there and using developmental psychology and different things and within there, and using some of the therapeutic stuff. So it's like the intuitive, the quantum, and the therapeutic, and actually a lot of that comes together. And it is about mindset. It is about our imagery, and it is understanding our triggers. So my part of the workshop is around understanding our emotional triggers. And I'm going to use a quantum approach in the workshop. I'm going to take people through an exercise using a quantum physics of developmental psychology mixed together morph of exercise to actually understand at a subconscious level what our triggers are, and how, not because we want to sit in the past, but because understand how it's affecting today. And when we can understand how that's affecting today, then it helps us to have a solution, or to understand that a solution is bigger than the problem, that life is always unfolding, and that every solution is out there.
I
That
love that.
quantum physics says chaos is an invitation to a new order. And I
I
love
love
that
that.
because it's an invitation to a new order, and we can choose whether that new order is positive, life affirming, whether we're going to see it as nourishing or whether we're going to see it as challenging and difficult. And the situation out there is always the same. It depends, like you said, on our perspective.
I love that. I'm really going to be looking forward to your part of the workshop because yeah, I love the stuff that you've studied and continue to study in quantum physics. Yeah, I think that's a minefield, but yeah, love it.
Well, I'm kind of only getting my head around, there's so much more that I really don't understand, but actually understanding even within cells, there are things called spinners, and those spinners spin at different vibrations and frequencies depending on where they are in the multiverse. And there's
Right.
more, there's hyperspace and all these different 10 multiverses. So our imagination's not just in our mind, is out there in the multiverse. And I find that fascinating and intriguing at the same time.
There's something quite magical about it, and I think yeah, I love all of that sort of stuff because it makes me but it makes me believe in the universe or a higher power, whatever you want to call it, whatever your belief is. And I think that's another thing that's really important with stress is having a some sort of belief system. It doesn't have to be in a god or a deity. It can be in just the stars, the planets. But I think when you've got something that kind of brings you back down to earth and something positive to believe in, that you are protected, that you're loved, that the universe will provide, that it never gives you more than you can't handle.
Mm,
When you start changing your perspective like that, I think, yeah, I mean, it's that question. If you had no fear in life, if you had that kind of confirmation that anything was possible and that you would be supportive, how would you live your life? Would you live it differently? And I think we all would. I think a lot of the time, whether it's upbringing or what the social media is displaying, we believe that scarcity and poverty and all of this, and so yes, we're just projecting more of that.
yeah.
um,
We get sucked into it, don't we? We get sucked into that fear, not realizing that's not really who we are. And we're so much more than all of that. And I wanted to circle right back to right at the beginning, what you wonderfully said about that we're not happy all the time. We can't expect to be in that joyful bliss all the time. And what I find so wonderful about that and what you said was we wouldn't know it if we didn't know sadness. We've
yeah,
got to know the opposite to feel it. So, like a fish doesn't know that it's in water until it's taken out of it. Then it knows something's different. So, we only know that joy and that love through experiencing the opposite of it at times. We just don't want to get stuck in that place of opposite. We want to be more into the happy, but sort of flowing through and experiencing all the different aspects of life. So, I'm really looking forward to not only hearing you and what you're doing and helping people that are turning up and showing up and attending it to move from just striving to really thriving. And I'm looking forward to hearing Dr. Rebecca talk about the medical side and having a proactive approach to dealing with stress from a health perspective. And like you said about Cathy's going to be doing about eating, emotional eating, and the solutions to stressful eating. And then I'm going to be looking at the triggers from a quantum perspective and how we can understand how life has unfolded and how it's having an impact now. And then you can think about what you can do moving forward. So there's so much.
there
I'm
is
really
so
looking
much, and
forward
I
to
think
it.
it's so needed at this time of year so that people start the year as they want to go on, and it really sets them up for success.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there is if I'm going to share this because we've got this wonderful workshop, Women, Stress and Solutions. It's the 28th of January 2022, so it's this year. It's on a Friday and it's 12 till 3. So actually what we're asking people to do is to either turn up live if they want to, so you can be there for the whole thing. So we've got wonderful one workshop after another. So we're starting off with Dr. Rebecca, who's going to be doing proactive approach to stress. We've got wonderful Leigh here. She's going to be doing her striving to thriving. I'm doing the emotional triggers afterwards, and then Cathy's following up and wrapping everything up with her solutions to stressful eating. So we would love to see you there because we know stress is one of the big hot topics on Google searches. So if you're looking for 4 different proactive perspectives on dealing with your stress, then I'm going to put in the description the link that you'll need to click to be able to register yourself for this workshop. Now, there are 2 options. You can turn up live, or you can turn up live and get the recordings as well. So you can watch them within the next 30 days at your leisure time. You can re-watch them, which will be fantastic because you'll take away extra stuff from the recordings as well. Is there anything else, Leigh, that you'd like to encourage people to show up? Why you think it's so fabulous that we're doing this and what difference it's going to make?
Yeah, I think, well, I just look back to some of the books that I've read and some of the people that I've followed. And, I was at a stage in my life where I never envisaged it being different. I was kind of caught in this rut for many, many years, from childhood to adolescence to adulthood. And then all it took was a book that I read, and then it happened to be Tony Robbins, who's obviously massive now, and I've done his Unleash the Power Within, and various courses through other people, and it's amazing, like just hearing it can be a quote or a saying or his perspective or my perspective or Debbie's perspective, and it can really just trigger, I think that is the word, and you use that, trigger a new response in you. And I honestly never underestimate the power of a workshop and what it can do for you, because as I said, in the past it's done amazing things for me. It's really changed my life. I certainly wouldn't be where I am today had I not have read those books and attended those workshops. So please do come along. We'll look forward to
Mm.
seeing you there.
And I think you're right. We can hear the same message from 4 different people, but one person will really resonate with you. So actually, that's
Yeah.
why this makes this workshop so special, is because there are 4 different people, and you might be hearing similar things in some ways, but you'll be hearing it in a different way. And actually, you might have a certain person that really resonates with you. So just click on the link that's in the description. We really like to see you there because stress is such a huge thing. Actually, in lots of ways, it's huger than the COVID pandemic that's going around. And actually, there are solutions. You don't have to suffer in silence. You don't have to be on your own. We've got 4 women sharing 4 female perspectives on dealing with stress, and we would love to see you there. Thank you for sharing your time. Remember to click and like and subscribe and share this around, because we all could do with the stress solutions that we're going to be sharing. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you again soon. Take care.